Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
The corrupt WNBA is all in on gaslighting all of you and changing the narrative around DeWanna Bonner from the fact that she is a POS to that she is the victim. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Let's go. You all know the DeWanna Bonner story. I'm not going to go into all the details again, but I think at this point, we all know that this was the plan ahead of time. You cannot convince me otherwise that it was not. You cannot convince me that DeWanna Bonner was all in on signing as a free agent with the Indiana Fever because that's where she wanted to play and that everything was all wonderful and that somehow, some way, someone or someone's in the Indiana Fever organization, whether it was players, coaches, fans, front office, in a very, very short period of time, made it so unbearable for DeWanna Bonner that she fled the team and demanded a trade. And it was so horrible, so unbearable, so unbelievable that she couldn't even text any of her teammates when she left to say goodbye. There is nothing good about DeWanna Bonner. That is the conclusion that I've come to. Absolutely nothing good about her from a human being, including her choices in relationships. But it has gotten to the point. This is the problem with the WNBA. Setting aside the really poor product on the court, is we have this all of the time. It is an absolute mess. You have the relationships. We just did the video on Marina Mabrey with her fake apology, where instead of actually apologizing for her actions, she played victim. It was the fans. It was the fans. It was the fans. Well, here we have DeWanna Bonner, as we know, multiple times I've talked about it. Alyssa Thomas has called the Indiana fans the R word. She subsided with Angel Reese. Oh, I believe Angel Reese, even though that entire story was completely made up, and it was so bad that the WNBA was actually forced to come out and say they found nothing. And yet, I want to play you this clip, and just listen to the audio. Listen to the announcers talking about DeWanna Bonner and her time in Indiana.
Also the fact she's playing with so much joy, and she talked about that at length after the Indiana game. She's back at home in Phoenix, loves playing in front of the X Factor. Of course, so many things go into it, not just making shots. She's feeling comfortable right now.
Yeah, and she's playing, for her children, her two little girls, but also she's not only finding joy because whatever happened in Indianapolis, the joy wasn't there. She thought, things were going to go well. We don't know what happened, but we know, too, that coming to Phoenix, it was a great opportunity for her and a great situation for the Mercury. But it's a transition, and you're moving again from a different state, different city.
Wow, where do I even begin with that? I find it. I had to laugh when out of nowhere she brings in, she's playing for her two children. We won't get into the biology of that, but was she not playing for them in Indiana? But it was clear that the WNBA sent out the memo, hey, we've got to change the narrative. DeWanna Bonner was a victim. We can't make it seem like Indiana and the Fever organization was the victim of an absolute POS like DeWanna Bonner, an absolute clown, an unlikable. Anyway, I'll leave it there. But serious question. Let me know in the comments below. I mean, if you're saying she's playing for her children, so you're saying that she wasn't playing for her children in Indiana, how exactly does that work? And if she's playing for her children in Phoenix, why wasn't she playing for her children in Indiana? But clearly we used the joy thing. We used that heard that a couple of times. So the memo went out from the WNBA to the announcers and everyone else. Here's the narrative we're going with. The joy is back for DeWanna Bonner. Implication meaning there was no joy in Indiana, that somehow, some way, something in Indiana was so absolutely awful that DeWanna Bonner was justified in her behavior. DeWanna Bonner was justified in quitting the Indiana Fever, walking out on the team, not even saying goodbye to any of her teammates, not even texting any of her teammates. She just fled. She quit. She left. She forced them to send her to Phoenix. And let us not forget, Indiana Fever fans, Caitlin Clark fans, that we've got the nonsense from the Fever organization that this was for personal reasons. She was gone for personal reasons. And what did that lead a lot of people to believe, to assume, is that there was maybe a health issue with a family member was what became most likely. And so the Fever fans were actually worried about DeWanna Bonner. They were concerned about DeWanna Bonner. They were giving best wishes and well wishes to DeWanna Bonner and hoping that everything was okay and that when it was, she could come back and be a productive member of the Indiana Fever as they made a playoff run and fought for a title. But that was all crap. That was all lies. That was all manipulative nonsense from a manipulative human being who, by the way, just simply is so dysfunctional, so incapable of functioning in the world without the absolute hateful clown Alyssa Thomas, that she could not bear. She could not bear to be away from such a thug. She could not bear to be away from such a dirty player. She could not bear to be away from such an awful human being who was constantly calling, without facts, without proof, calling Indiana Fever fans racist. What were they saying, Alyssa Thomas? Because I'm pretty sure you said you heard that. You heard the things that were being yelled at you. So I'm sure it's on record somewhere. I'm sure it's recorded somewhere. I'm sure you could at least tell us exactly what it was that you heard. But of course she can't, because it's a lie, because it's always been a lie. And DeWanna Bonner is part of that lie. She is 100% in on all of that nonsense. And now we have to deal with the entire league and these clown announcers shifting it, gaslighting all of you into thinking somehow DeWanna Bonner is this wonderful person who simply lost the joy because Indiana is awful. Indiana's fans are awful. The team, they could she couldn't fit in because maybe, I don't know, maybe the players are awful. We don't know because DeWanna Bonner hasn't said anything. But now we've got the narrative from the announcers as well. There's no reason to be talking about this at all in this game against Atlanta, far removed from DeWanna Bonner's return to basketball. And by the way, I would just like to finish up with the end of that. Let me see if I can play that again, where she talks about. I want to play the last 10 seconds because she gets into the part about her going to Phoenix and what that meant.
A great situation for the Mercury, but it's a transition, and you're.
All right, I think I caught the tail end, so I want to back it up just a tiny bit more, and you listen to what she says about the Mercury.
What happened, but we know too that coming to Phoenix, it was a great opportunity for her and a great situation for the Mercury.
Coming to Phoenix was a great opportunity for her. Why? Why was it? And a great situation for the Mercury. Folks, the Phoenix Mercury have a better record without DeWanna Bonner. The Phoenix Mercury were 13-6. 13-6 when DeWanna Bonner joined the team, folks. Now, I'm not sure if they played one more game before she actually played, because for some reason I feel like they were 14-6, but let's go with 13-6 from everything I can find. Okay, they're now 19-12. Now, I know it's difficult for the WNBA to do basic math, but that means that they have won 6 games and they have lost 6 games since DeWanna Bonner joined the team. And actually, you know what? I confirmed. I'm sorry. So that is accurate, because I was just thinking, I was looking up DeWanna Bonner's numbers and she's played in 12 games. So that makes sense. So they were 13-6. And again, if you can do the math, 13-6 is more than 2 wins per loss, right? 12-6 would be 2-1, which would be a winning percentage of 667. So 13-6 is actually a little higher than that. You know where that would put them, folks? You know where that would put Phoenix? If they maintained that, they would be number 2. They would have the number 2 seed in the WNBA. But instead, because they are an absolute mess of a league, the Mercury had to sign DeWanna Bonner because the league is apparently about dating teammates and dating other players in the league and the relationships and all of that drama. And it's not about the basketball, because if it was about the basketball, the Phoenix Mercury would have never signed DeWanna Bonner. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Thanks for checking out the video. Appreciate it. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Really do appreciate it. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.